So after posting many symbolic and allegorical Bible interpretations, specifically on the New Testament and Jesus for the most part, I had a big realization. I realized that a large portion of people simply don't understand symbolism, even in its simplest form, what it is, its core, how it works, how you actually symbolically interpret something, whether it's the Bible or another ancient religious text. So my goal here is to help you guys understand exactly how to symbolically interpret something and understand exactly what this means. It can be challenging, but symbolically interpreting religious texts, specifically the Bible, involves looking beyond the literal meanings to uncover deeper, often universal truths or insights. Here are the exact steps to take to symbolically interpret a religious text, including the Bible. Number 1, understand the context. So, historical context. You need to know when and where the text was written, obviously. Understanding the cultural, political, and social environment can provide insights into why certain symbols or metaphors were used. Literary context. Consider the genre. Was it a myth? Was it a prophecy? Was it a parable? Jesus spoke only in parable. We know that because the Bible tells us that. And we can read Jesus' stories. And we also need to consider how it was intended to be received by its original audience. What was the entire point of it? But just using Jesus as an example, the mustard seed story. It doesn't matter whether that actually occurred or not. It probably didn't, or it could have occurred many times over the course of the history of man. It doesn't matter. The point is the symbolic interpretation and the lessons that's derived from that metaphorical parable. So, number 2, identify symbols. Look for recurring themes, images, words that might not be literal but represent something else. Common symbols include animals, natural elements like water and fire, numbers, and specific actions like eating, washing. To give you a very, very, very basic example here, the word yoke is used many times throughout the Bible. However, the word yoke means, in its literal sense, is a wooden thing that attaches two animals or oxen, and it can also be an attachment for clothing. I believe off the top of my head, like it's an attachment for two pieces of clothing. Symbolically, that can represent many things, but it's often represented as unity or union, right? When we read the word yoke in the Bible, that's what it's talking about. By researching symbolic meanings, we mean consult commentaries, scholarly works, or dictionaries of symbols related to the culture or religion of the text. That's very important. For instance, in many traditions, a serpent might symbolize wisdom or eternity, while in others, it might represent evil. You have to know those things, and you have to know the context within the culture with which it was used. Another great one that's a simple example is with many Native American tribes is the green lizard. You know, I live in Georgia. There's lots of green lizards everywhere, the little ones. Their tail falls off when they're attacked or chased or whatever. You've probably seen it, I'm sure. Well, because of that, and they can regenerate their tail, oftentimes green lizards found in nature in certain situations can symbolically represent transformation, regrowth, a new phase in life, those sorts of things, right? Another one would be a blue heron. A blue heron, what does it do? Well, it's a 3 to 4 to 5 foot tall bird, I believe, off the top of my head. No, it's a bird, but height I'm talking about. And what? So the heron typically stands on one leg, is a water and air bird. So again, another symbolic animal that can represent transformation. It can also represent things like patience because it stands still on that one leg in the water until it's the perfect time to strike. So those two animals just right there are great examples of symbolic meanings in nature and with animals. So number 4, analyze relationships. Examine how symbols interact with each other within the text. Relationships between characters, events, or objects can often reveal deeper meanings. For example, in many texts, a journey might symbolize a spiritual path or personal transformation. Number 5, consider psychological interpretations. Use frameworks like Jungian psychology from Carl Jung, which views symbols as archetypes that resonate with the collective unconscious. For example, a hero's journey is a common archetype found in many religious narratives, as are others. But I believe the Jungian archetypes, there's 12 of them. So those will be a wonderful place to start to understand and apply that when you see overlap and alignment with the archetypes and then works you're reading, and understand what that archetype with that individual or character is. Look for universal themes. Identify themes that transcend cultural boundaries like birth, death, rebirth, the quest for knowledge, transformation, or the struggle between good and evil. These themes often carry symbolic weight across different cultures. Personal reflection. Reflect on what these symbols might mean to you personally. Symbolic interpretation often involves a personal connection where the reader finds meaning that resonates with their own life or spiritual journey. Number 8, cross-reference with other texts. This is key. Compare how similar symbols are used in other texts, either within the same tradition or across many different cultures. This can provide a broader understanding or highlight unique aspects of the symbolism in your text. And when interpreting the Bible, New Testament, Jesus, it's important to understand the symbolic and allegorical understandings of Buddha, Krishna from Hinduism, and what you'll see, and you'll even see this with something like Tom Campbell, the NASA physicist. He has a my big toe. It's a theory of everything. Encompasses everything, every aspect of science, where we came from, who we are, what we're doing here. Even then, you can cross-reference with things like that. And amazingly enough, they all check out and they're in alignment. They're speaking in different ways, using different symbols, but ultimately they're all referencing the same thing. Number 9, ethical and moral considerations. Think about how the symbols might relate to ethical or moral teachings. A story about a flood might symbolize purification or a new beginning after a moral corruption, right? Synthesize your findings. After gathering all your interpretations, try to synthesize them into a coherent understanding of the text. This might involve writing a summary or discussion of how these symbols contribute to the overall message or theme of the text. Engage in dialogue. Discuss your interpretations with others without getting mad. If you're coming from a fundamentalist Christian perspective, you guys are horrible about getting mad and angry and reacting in a volatile way. Anything that you encounter that doesn't immediately fit your box of beliefs and what you already think. Now, I was there once for a very long time in my life too, so I do get it to a degree, but it's not exactly right. And if you really want to understand the true teachings of, say, Jesus, you have to understand it symbolically and allegorically. It is the only way, and it's undeniable. Absolutely. Unless you want to continue to, interpret these things as the earth being 4,000 years old, which is insane, or saying things like the devil put dinosaur bones in the ground to confuse me. That's insane. Or, all the other things. A 90-year-old woman had a baby. But even the Ark story, that one is one that's across many different cultures, right? And there's tons of evidence that the flood did occur, for sure. But whether it did or not, it doesn't matter. It's the symbolic understanding and teachings in that story that it's here for. That's what we're to use it for. We're not trying to get a scientific understanding or even a historical understanding of it. It's all about the symbolism, and it's all about teaching you the spiritual lessons you need to evolve and grow. Interested in learning more deeper specific detail in regards to the Bible, New Testament, and Jesus' actual teachings symbolically? Follow this channel and I'll deliver the goods. Have a wonderful day.